So somebody just asked what this stream's about, so I'll do a little bit of an introduction and then I'll answer your question, Karuna. Just to let you know, over the Christmas period, there's going to be quite a bit of changing to the Ustream times. So you have to check my website, and you go to Meet Lisa, and it's under online, and it will tell you all the times, the new times that I'm doing it. And if you're ever wanting to join me online, there's another Lisa Cairns on Ustream. And a lot of people go to that Lisa Cairns and then sit on her blank page and write to me afterwards saying that it doesn't work. And that's because it's the wrong Lisa Cairns. It's not me, it's another Lisa Cairns. To search for me on Ustream, there's no space in between my name. It's Lisa Cairns, and there's no gap there. But you can always find the link to the online talks on my website under online section, and then you can go directly to my channel, and if you subscribe to it then you'll get emails and things. Or you can go to my Facebook page and press the link there, but you won't find me. I don't come up when you type me into Ustream. The other Lisa Cairns and another Lisa Cairns I think comes up, but not this one because there's no gap in my name there. Anyway, so an introduction now. So what's been pointed to here is wholeness, is oneness. Advaita or non-duality means not two. It's implying that everything is one thing, one movement, one energy expressing itself. But what seems to happen in the human being, which hasn't happened in the animals and very young children, and some people, older people with Alzheimer's as well, and there are some humans which it hasn't happened in, but I think a lot of them are ones with learning disabilities, or maybe autism or Asperger's. But most human beings, what happens around a young age, maybe 2 or 3, here it didn't happen till later. This body-mind mechanism had quite severe learning difficulties, so it didn't actually happen until maybe about 6 or 7, and I remember it happening. This personal energy, this divide happened. So suddenly all there was, so before there was just what is, there was just life happening. And then there came a point where suddenly life was happening to a me, separate from life, and I was an individual. And I remember that break happening. Schools and the education system were very insistent that I spoke. I didn't speak till late, and that I communicated and wrote and understood language. And before that, there was this freedom, and every time the school system kept trying to make me speak and make me think, it felt like I was being put in a cage. And so there was a moving away from that, but eventually it began to happen, and it felt like there was boundlessness, and then suddenly there was this caged energy. I was something in time, and I remember it very specifically, particularly because it happened later. It normally happens 2 or 3. But because of the learning difficulties, it didn't happen till later on. I remember that moment of comprehending my name and seeing my name written down. Before that, it was just namelessness. The body was responding to a name, but it wasn't mine. And then suddenly it became my name, and I was somebody in here, separate from my mum, my dad, the road I was walking on, the car, the dogs, the trees. Before that, there was just boundlessness. There was no sense of being divided in words, being divided in language. And I think that it is language that divides us, but it becomes an energetical thing. Without language, without this complicated thinking, so in animals and young children, it doesn't happen. It only happens with this complicated thinking of language. But it's not a wrong thing. What language is something that happens, and complicated thinking is something that happens in the human being, but it becomes a whole story of a person, and it becomes who you are, rather than before the language started there was just what is. It becomes you are a story in language, in time. You are descriptions of your good actions, your bad actions. Without language, that doesn't exist. You are your past events, what you've done. You're your future events. You're what you own. This is impossible to form without language, but it becomes so strong. It's like an energy. This language becomes so true, it becomes like an energetic feeling in the body. So it almost feels like it's beyond language. It feels like who you are. It feels like you are someone in there. And so thoughts become realities. Ideas become reality, seemingly. It's so believable that you are someone, and that person over there is another person, and they're a good person, and they're a bad person, and they're an asshole, and they're higher than you, they're lower than you. They're the person you bonked 3 months ago. The language becomes reality. And again, complicated thinking is another part of expression, but it's not who you are, it's just complicated thinking. And the suffering came, the divide came, when it became who you were. You became somebody in time. Rather than time just appearing in this boundlessness, you became somebody in time, and it always feels like you're journeying in time, that you're here because of time, that you were born and you're here because of 30 years of life or 40 years of life. And that you're off somewhere, you're going to go and do this with your life or that with your life or blah, 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 blah. And that's the illusion. Time and language is something that arises in this boundlessness that was here at birth of the body. It was even there before birth, but we'll just start with the body. It was there when you were good, bad, right, wrong, when you told yourself you were a Buddhist, or you told yourself you were an arsehole, or you told yourself you were the queen, or a beautiful person or an ugly person, a skinny person, a fat person, a right person, a wrong person, a better person, a lesser person, a married person, an unmarried person. This boundlessness was there no matter what story arose. But the story is always changing and not who you are. It comes and goes in this absolute freedom. And so not these talks and non-duality are pointing back to this freedom. And it's not pointing to the end of conceptual thinking. It's pointing to the end of that energy that's claiming the conceptual thinking, that's saying, I am the conceptual thinking. I am found in a story. That energy of personal. And it is like an energetic contraction. It feels like you end at the end of your body, which is an absolute lie. Aliveness is everything. Energy is everything. Beingness is everything. And no one thing. It's not limited to one thing. And it's absolute mysterious and doesn't make any sense at all, and can't ever be put into concepts, even though these concepts are trying to point to it, because it's beyond language. Language appears in it. Aliveness isn't the source of language. Beingness. And it's the most beautiful subject. It's so beautiful. But it can seemingly be a very uncomfortable subject, because it's talking about the end of you, who you think you are. And it's completely challenging the idea of choice, free will, yours, identity. So it can be very uncomfortable, this subject. But it's so beautiful. It's saying that everything is it. Everything is that beingness, that aliveness. It's the nature of everything. It's not something that you, the person, needs to get. It is. What you looked for is always been this. Because the me, when this identity starts, it always it comes with a certain amount of discomfort, feeling limited and vulnerable to the body. So it's always looking for comfort, for home. So it looks in sex, in money, in others, in power, in perfect place to live, the perfect car, perfect partner, the perfect children. And it's never been in any of it. The shoes, the tops, they're nice things, but it's never been in any of it. It's what's happening. It's the nature of aliveness that's looked for, never the objects. And what suffering there's been about trying to obtain objects and trying to get things, trying to be somebody and be something. And non-duality points back to the freedom that's always been here, the nature of everything. Isn't that fucking great, mate? Well, yeah, somebody asked me if I can do a New Zealand accent. So I did an Australian accent. Australian accent's very easy. Some very easy accents do. But the New Zealand one is a little bit harder. So there's this comedy sketch, which most New Zealanders know. Have you got a chip, bro? They're more intense than the Australians. They've got very funny language. So it's fucking, no, I can't do it. It's fucking great, this subject, because it's pointing to a freedom that's not bound in anything. You cannot buy it, you cannot get it. It is. Love is what sought, seeked for is. But that energy that's looking for this thing that it feels like it's lost can feel very uncomfortable hearing this, because it's wanting to find it. It's wanting to. It's always on the run. Okay, well that's the end of the introduction. I don't know if that made any sex. All there is sex. I don't know if that made any sense to you, ex-narf. Okay. So, Karuna, I know you've written me some questions. Do you remember I said to you before about not writing it in chat? There should be another option to write it to me outside of chat. Otherwise I don't see it, because I'm speaking with you, it doesn't show me a mark saying that you want to ask a question, so I might miss it. So if you can find the chat place to write it, and I'll be able to see it. But I did see this one. This is from Karuna. I was wondering if the me does not exist and it's only a thought, that there is somebody. So when this thought is gone, there is only this, right? Yeah, but it's become an energy. It's not just a thought. Thoughts are empty. If it was just a thought, then it wouldn't matter. It's become this energy of stickiness, which is saying, I am angry, I am bad. And it's inside. So the whole thing of transformation should be over. I don't know what you mean by that. But there are many energetic shifts in the body also. So how can it be there are so many energetical changes like I also experience in the body when the me is only a thought and a thought is gone in less than a second? So the energy stuff should also be gone in less than a second, but it's not so. Could you explain this, please? Oh, Yeah, that's what I was just saying. It's become an energetic. It's like the me's like a sticky, energetical energy that's claiming these thoughts. Because you're right, a thought's just empty. It just comes and goes. But it's this energy which is saying, my thought, I am bad, I am wrong, I've done it wrong. It's like that's the me sticking onto all the thoughts. Otherwise it just comes and goes. Thoughts aren't the problem as such. Like now we could all think the president's an arsehole or whatever, and it just comes and goes. But it's this energy that's claiming it. The president is an arsehole and I am bad. He shouldn't be an arsehole. And it is coming back to that simplicity of everything, life just appearing and disappearing. The me makes it last 10, 20 years. I got dumped. He hurt me. Living in this story of he hurt me, rather than just there being pain and that his body leaving, and here we are. It's he hurt me. Why does he hurt me? I'm not good enough. He didn't love me. Why does he treat me like shit? The me makes it last for a long time, and it gives the appearance that somebody's actually there inside the body and somebody's out there in the other bodies. Really, there's just sounds and light and juiciness happening and energies, but it's not happening for anyone. This is a dreamed reality. But because the humans have this complicated thinking, then there's going to be descriptions appearing about the character. I went to the shops earlier. I used to go out with Dan. And then that's gone. That's not who you are. When the me energy's there, it's like, I went to the shops earlier. I used to go out with Dan. Da 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 da. And trying to hold on to who you are. I'm sure that makes really good sense. Hey, Lisi. Hello. Hello, Alex. Hey, Lisa, your Kiwi accent sounds Safa. What's Safa? Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
I'm watching now. And just first, thank you for these sharings.
My pleasure. How do you say your name?
Oh, very complicated name.
Yeah.
From Bulgaria. Kala.
Carla.
Okay. Kala is okay. It's okay for you. Okay, so thank you for your sharing. I watch regularly.
Nice.
I want to ask you for some assistance.
Yeah.
It's like I see that there is this only aliveness, and there's nothing else here. But I kind of very strongly believe that I don't know why that you and others are another aliveness. I don't know why I believe that. It's kind of...
What, all others? Or just some others? All others are a different aliveness?
Yes, like I believe that they're different aliveness, and I believe that very strongly. Although I see here is just aliveness, it's
Yeah,
not separate.
and it always comes back down to the actual experience. Are there other alivenesses in the experience?
No, no. In the experience, it's
There's just
only
one.
yes, it's one
And
aliveness.
that's what it always comes back to. But the mind is always telling stories, and it's only in a story that there's other alivenesses. It's not an actual reality, but that's just the
Yes,
momentum and movement comes up, and when that movement or momentum doesn't come up, there's no other alivenesses again. There's just one aliveness.
it's undeniable that there's just one aliveness
Yeah.
in the experience. In the
Yeah.
experience,
It's
it's
amazing how that dream of lots of others has taken over, because the actual experience is one aliveness, and the aliveness is everywhere.
yes,
But it's
it's there.
amazing how those thoughts and energies really feel like the reality is that there are others. But then when that energy and those thoughts drop, then there's just one aliveness again. So there's many times when there are no others, I'm sure, but then those
Yeah,
ideas and energies just pop up again, and then it really feels like somebody else is doing something freely, separate from the
it,
aliveness.
this is the experience. Like this is the experience. Like someone appears and he's different talking to you. It's like I see it's one aliveness experientially. Like it
Yeah.
cannot be denied. But
And
it
then the suffering
feels.
comes up when that dream's taken seriously, that he's acting separately from you, because
Oh
then
yeah.
suddenly you have to be you have to barter with him, you have to be in a relationship with him or her. There's suddenly this bartering going on. I've
Just the
got to
idea of another is causes trouble here.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it, but
Disbelief.
that's exactly it. An idea of the other for everybody is what causes trouble. It is an idea, but there can be another body mind mechanism next to I can't pronounce your name, I've forgotten it again.
Oh, don't
next to
worry, it's
next to
okay.
you, your body mind. I mean, even saying yours is a bit funny, but there could be one sitting next to, and if there's no idea and energy that comes that there is another next to you, then there's just movement and sound and experiences happening.
Yes, yes, this is exactly what it is, but the belief
Yeah.
runs very strongly
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the time.
And this is one of the biggest sufferings. The two big sufferings are relationships, not necessarily sexual relationships, but
Yeah,
relationship
any
with the
kind,
other one.
any.
And the other suffering is the money. That's
Yeah,
the two biggest stories that play out is money, safety, security, and
yeah, yeah,
then getting the
security.
love from the other. It's always
Yeah.
looking for something from another person. And there are no other people. It's a hopeless game.
Like, if I can ask, I somehow believe very strong that this experience here is not the only experience right now.
Yeah,
I I believe that I cannot know that, but I believe that another experiences arises now, which I can call your experience,
yeah,
for example. Like I believe that very strong that there is another experience arises,
yeah,
and this drives the idea that you are another.
yeah,
It's like very strong belief
yeah.
here.
And as a child, as a very young child, that wasn't in play. There was just playing with other kids. It didn't start until later.
Yeah. When I was little, I didn't even think about
No,
such
that
things.
wasn't there, that sense. There was just sounds, colours,
Yeah, yeah. But
diversity happening without even knowing that. And that's the freedom. It's so simple, but it's not something that you can actively do. That energy dissolves when it dissolves. Like to even imagine you being able to dissolve that energy or get rid of it or stop it in any way is just another fantasy that's happening in beingness.
mm, I gave up managing energies since some time.
You gave
Uh,
up what?
Managing my energies,
You gave up what?
managing my energies.
Your energies.
Yeah, yes.
What's
Like
that?
this, like this idea that I should manage my energy,
Oh, I see, I
to
see.
keep it high,
Yeah,
all
and
the time.
it's just a momentum and
Yes.
daydream that's happening. But there's nothing wrong with it. Whatever appears is what's appearing. It's just that it's not a reality. It's just dreaming.
Yes, yes, I see that.
Nice.
And it's like, for me, for my understanding now is and experience somehow is that I cannot stop believing that there is another experience like your experience.
Yeah. And it won't ever be you that stops it. It will, because there's not even a you that's there. So it disappears. In one way, it's never happening. Like
It's not
right.
happening. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not happening. It's belief, and
Yeah.
it's like I cannot say that this is the only experience
Yeah.
existing, although this is the only experience
Yeah.
for me that
Yeah.
exists.
Is it painful relating with other people?
Somehow very painful and somehow very, very pleasurable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's very pleasurable.
Yeah.
Relating with other people, but I have very strong fears sometimes.
Yeah.
From fears from like not trust in life,
Yeah.
because I see another. I believe in another.
Yeah.
That I'm talking not with another. I see that here is only aliveness. It's not separate. Like in this conversation, like now, aliveness. It's not separate.
Yeah.
But I believe that another experiences arises maybe for the same aliveness. I believe it's for the same aliveness. It's one aliveness, and
yeah. It is one.
two experiences arise in the same time for the one aliveness. I suppose it's something like that. I cannot get more than that.
Yeah, you never can in words, really. But you know, when the fear and the suffering comes with other people, it's always comes from a sense um, of yearning to feel safety. The suffering, like
Yes.
that yearning for love. Really, even in insecurity and physical vulnerability, what it's yearning for is that safety of love, and that's the essence of the person. So when it's triggered by other people, it's always, even though it might be they're hurting me or they're bad or whatever stories are playing, the essence of it is always yearning to feel love.
Yes, love and absolute security.
Yeah, they kind of the same sort of thing. That there's two things: it avoids fear and tries to seek for love, but they're kind of one and the same thing ultimately, trying to find that security.
Yes. And because I completely lose the idea what I am. I cannot say what I am in any way. Like aliveness is happening, like dream is continuing, it's going on, and not go. It's going on, and I don't know what I am, and I don't. If I have to be honest, this absolute security. Love is here more a lot of the time because I appreciate this beauty happening all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I appreciate this magnificent beauty. I don't have words for that, for what's happening all the time.
Yeah.
And but sometimes like not trusting enough happens. Not trusting enough, like fears and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's not this absolute security cannot establish absolutely. Like it's not for now.
See, yeah, seemingly.
But I believe that this will pass. So.
In a way, it's always past. Like in the way, it's absolute security, and this vulnerability is never really happening. But that pops up, it gives the appearance that it's something that will stabilize in the future. But it's absolutely stable amness, aliveness, and right here, just this fog of meing seems to give the appearance of this vulnerability, but it's always a daydream. It's never an actuality.
Yeah, it's never actual. It's never actual.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the stability. Aliveness is the only stability, which is happening.
Everything else moves.
Yes, everything else moves.
And then aliveness is not moving and moving simultaneously.
Yes, yes. And I don't know why this question and this idea gets stuck for so long time for me. That this question, why I believe that there is another, why I want to remove that. Like I see that this is my problem. Like I believe that there is another. There is another aliveness in a way. Because this existence that I believe that of the existence of another aliveness, and this is my only problem. Like I see that. Although the experience is only one aliveness, which I am in a way.
And it comes and goes, the other, seemingly. Like there'll be lots of times when there's just drinking tea and there's no sense of any other.
Yes, yes, it comes and goes.
But even the one who knows it doesn't really know it. Like the one that knows that that's the problem doesn't really know it. That's just a thought appearing, and then when that goes, there's no problem. When there's typing, there's no sense of any of that. That you know that the other is the problem or anything. There's just typing happening. Tuk, 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 tuk. Or smelling the roses, or sitting on the toilet, whatever it may be. Like these stories always come and go.
Yes, they always come and go and are not there all the time. No.
Nice. How do you say your name again?
Kala.
Kalon.
Oh, you always make all the names wrong.
I know, I'm terrible. No. It's the English. The English are retarded when it comes to other languages. It's the English conditioning in me.
Yeah, English is very easy language. Others are a little bit more complicated.
And we're just terrible because most other languages or other countries speak English. We're very lazy with other languages. The conditioning is very lazy.
It's good for you. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Speak to you soon.
See you. Bye bye.
This is from KJ. Oh, I've got pins and needles. Hello, Lisa. I can totally relate to the name. I was given a funny name by my parents, which people made fun of, not surprisingly. I was hurt even though it was just a name, a sound, and I knew somehow that it was all bullshit. How can I be a name? Also, a more serious question. Did you name Khaleesi after Game of Thrones? Yes. We named her after the sexy blonde in Game of Thrones. It's an absolutely made-up name. We then discovered that that wasn't actually her name. That's only her slave name. So we actually named her after the slave name of the sexy blonde in Game of Thrones. But it's a sweet name, Khaleesi. Oh, South African. Yeah, you're right actually. I was going into South African with the Kiwi accent. So Justin says, the South African accents like this. I'm not that good at accents, but we have a go. Yeah, you're right actually. I have to watch some Kiwi stuff. Lisa, are you self-aware? If you are, how can there be a talk about know me? Now, what is self-awareness? This is very interesting. Who is self-aware of what? This is from Shay. Who is self-aware of what? A thought is self-aware of another idea? Can there ever be self-awareness? Well, I'll just wait for you to reply from that one, Shay. I'll just quickly have a look. So, are you aware of your existence, that is? Well, this is... So, am I? So, first of all, I've got to find I. Who is this I? Aware of my existence. Who is the my existence? There is beingness, but there's no divide between any of the beingness. Where does anything start and stop? Where do I start and stop and become aware of myself? There's thoughts and ideas that appear about the character, the body-mind mechanism, and they get expressed about what Lisa did this morning or what she's going to do. But that's not who you are. That's just a description of the body. It all gets very mushy around this area. All of it requires a place to stand as to who you are, and a belief that you are a thought in some way, or a concept, or an idea. It's so much fun, this subject. Everything gets exploded into a fart. And then they realise there is no fart. Made a sound, made a smell, but where's the fart? So, Karuna, I don't understand, Karuna, exactly what you mean that you can't do it because you've just done it. An awkward question to the first one. So that means that energy blocks in the body take more time to dissolve than thoughts, but it makes also no sense since there is no time. Well, yeah, because to the idea that the body has got an energy block and it's been lasting for 5 minutes is just an idea appearing in this. It's just a thought appearing in this stillness now. Oh, Shay says, really not fun. It's an annoying subject to me. Yeah, if you're an intellectual, then this can be really freaking annoying. Because it makes no sense intellectually, really. I could be contradicted and tripped up many times in everything I say. It happens if you watch interviews with me. I normally stumble a lot in the interviews or give up because it can't really be put into nice, simple words. I can't just go, this is it, and then that's understood. My basic concept is that as long as there is self-awareness, there will always be suffering. Yep. But self-awareness is only thoughts. You're right, though. As long as there's self-awareness, there will be suffering because there's an assumption that there's you there. Who is this you? Self-awareness implies that you are something. You're a body, you're a concept, you're an idea, that you start and stop somewhere. There is beingness, energy, aliveness, some people might say consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and it's nothing and everything. It doesn't start and stop anywhere. That consciousness or aliveness is not separate from the words that are being heard now. So you could then, that the body, my mechanism of Shay could then describe, I am hearing Lisa's words, but that's just a description happening. It's not actually a reality. That body is hearing the words. That's not actually how it's happening. There's not a you in there that's hearing it. This is so mysterious. This aliveness is no thing and everything. And there's no start or stop. And when there is self-awareness, there's a start and stop. There is I am something, and then the conflict begins. I am something and I must defend this something. But it's very shitty subject for the seeking energy. But then there's something else that's buzzing at this. For that seeking energy and that intellectual energy, this subject shit. But then there's another part that can hear this absolute mystery, in which this mystery is being heard, but not by someone. But there is somebody aware of it all. Sorry for being hang on the subject. Is there? Is there somebody? Are you sure? And who is the you that could be sure or not sure? Is there anybody aware? So, hi Lisa, memory. Why do I claim it constantly? Memory coming and going is just an appearance. Yeah, but that energy claims whatever it can. And one of its hugest things is memory and what I've chosen to do and what I'm going to choose to do. It thrives off that. It's just energy appearing, giving the appearance of time. To a dog, the memory is very small. So there's very small appearance of time. But that doesn't mean that they're less of a somebody, like less of aliveness. It doesn't mean there's less beingness there. Yes, sure, sorry. I wish there wasn't. There isn't. It gives the appearance that there's somebody there, but there really isn't. And the answer's always in the experience. It's not in concepts. It feels like I'm pointing conceptually, but trust me, it's in what's actually happening. This right here, right now, there's nobody. There's just experience happening for nobody. I have to go pee-pee. We have a pee-pee poo-poo song for Khaleesi. She gets all excited. Should we do it? Although she's pretty pooped because I've bike ride her. We go a pee, 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 a pee, pee, poo. Oh look, she's getting up. Morning, Casca. Yeah, I'm still streaming. Another about half an hour. Come on, Matley. Sweetie. He's allowed the bone. You see this? Here, Casca. No. I believe you, Lisa. I don't think you're fake but sincere, but I don't know how to get rid of this me. Like I said, as long as there is an experience, so there will always be suffering coming along with it like a shadow. It's not your role to do that. You are an appearance, not the creator. That one that says he believes me and he doesn't know how to get rid of it is an appearance, not the creator. It's something that appears in this. That appearance of a somebody isn't the one that's doing this life. So relaxing. It's not your job to get this life right or wrong. That one just appears. This is from Karina. It is a bit difficult for me to type and listen. Sorry. I typed bad English. Callian did point to something I am also struggling with. How can you know that there are no others having another experience than you? The answer's here. Are the others having any experience from you? Or is there just one aliveness? I mean, even saying the answer's here is weird because it makes an appearance that there's a there and a then. But the answer's this. This, what is? Is there another experiencer? Or is it just one aliveness? It was so when we were children does not convince me. It could also be that as small children we could not get it that there were others on the other side of the plane having another experience than we do on this side of the plane. Planned. Like in old times when it was claimed that the earth is flat, since people could not know it actually is round. So how can I know that there is only this what is experienced here, now, and no Lisa in another country having a P experience? Well, it comes back down to what is. If I can't convince you in a story, I mean, we can keep talking about it in concepts, but it's really not found there. Another experience is conceptual. And there's nothing wrong with that concept, but it's been taken as reality. It's become an energetical experience, and that's how the suffering grew. As all the concepts and the me energy gets eaten up, it's seen that this is it. This. And the answer was always this. It wasn't a conceptual answer. It wasn't found in words. But it's so hard because all these fogs really seem like they're realities. It's so simple, but the mind's looking for more complicated answers. Shay says, who is the creator then? Nobody. There's nothing creating. But nothing gives the appearance of, like, there's so many ideas with nothing. So maybe if I say mystery as well, that's quite a sweet word. Mysteries creating, question marks creating. Because nothing, like nothing, most people imagine dark emptiness or something. It's mystery. It doesn't appear from a thing. It doesn't appear from a creator. It doesn't appear from somebody or something. There is this amness, but this amness is no thing and everything. The amness cannot be found, yet it is everything. It's no thing and everything. Whoop. Question mark. Oh, I faded into darkness as I slide down the sofa. But if that is so, then there is no need to care for my friends having health problems, because if they are not here, they do not exist. Do I see this right? No, that's conceptual interpretation of it. Caring for them has always happened or not happened. You believe it was to do with you and your stories about helping them or not helping them. Lisi, the dog, gets looked after. And I don't have a story that's my job and I've got to earn money to feed her or da-da-da-da. It just happens in the morning. The face looks at me and the food gets given. And the bike ride. The bike gets gotten out of the shed seemingly and we cycle for an hour. But it's never been because of those stories. I've got to help her because she's an abandoned dog from Thailand and she needs me to rescue her. What arrogance. It just always happened. Life isn't happening because of the stories that you tell about it. The stories appear in this. You don't help a friend because of your stories. The friend gets helped because that's what happens. Most people think that it's their responsibility and their job to do this. Not at all. It's so freeing. It's not your job to make the right decisions or do the right action. It happens. And this whole story's grown and grown and grown. It's me doing it. It's the aeroplane's on autopilot and there's a little person in there believing they're steering it. Gotta go straight, gotta go down, gotta go. It's always been on autopilot. There's not a you in there driving this. There's an appearance of somebody driving it. There's an appearance of somebody saying, I'm driving it, I'm going left, I'm going right, I'm helping my friends, I'm doing good things. But that isn't a reality, that's just another appearance. It's like, so if you look at the tree, it's like life's programmed, so life's programmed into that tree thoughts and energies saying, I am now growing towards the sun, I'm now just about to get towards the sun, I'm now growing my roots, I'm now making myself move in the wind. And it's just programmed in a voice with energies that say that, giving the appearance that somebody's inside the tree. I want to find out if there is a friend somewhere else. If there is not, I would not help them. If there is, I would. So is there a friend or not? That's what you think, that you won't help them. You'll be surprised what happens. There is no other. There is just aliveness, but there's no you, Karuna, either. It's not just you as Karuna. There's just beingness. And then there's imagination. Thanks. You don't have a choice in all this. Is there no pattern, karma, etc.? The flow of objects appears in cause and effect, seemingly. So if you jump off a cliff, it's more than likely the legs or the back or the body will be broken. So, but it's not your karma, it's just the way things move. So the tree doesn't get water, it more than likely dies. The body doesn't get food, it more than likely dies. But there's no karma that belongs to an entity. It's just the natural movement of things. The things appear in cause and effect. And then there's nothing happening at the same time. There's no movement. There's a knowing of I am this. The source of the knowing is unknown. Are you sure there's a knowing of amness? Or is there just amness? Gary. Hi Gary, by the way. Oh, Jerry, sorry, not Gary. Hey Jerry. Are you sure there's a knowing of amness? That's originally how I was taught, or how most people are taught. Is this consciousness of amness. Are you sure there's that divide? It all gets into mash-mosh land and doesn't really matter. Or is that a thought that divides? I'm going to stop soon. So it's now 11:26. I'll stop at 11:30 because I have a lot of things before I catch my flight tonight to Paris. A lot of things to do. So if anyone's got any more questions. Is aliveness loving it to be cruel? Aliveness is love, but it's not personal, so it's not like it's somebody in there loving it. Aliveness is love of everything that appears. Cruelness is a description that appears in words. It's not an actuality. Aliveness is absolute love. Hi, Dan. I just got your question. Did I answer it on Friday? Question: how do you feel about the prospect of physical death? Hey, Dooley. Hey, Stan. Somebody just wrote me a question and I can't find it now. I don't know where it went. If you just sent me a really big question, just send it again because I lost it. I have loads of people on Skype. It's not as simple as you think, the little operation that's being run here. Well, I see people liking it to hurt, and it is done by self, by life, since this people are life. So does it mean like life is liking it as much as the nice, pleasant experiences? It's not personal. Aliveness energy isn't a personal dynamic. It creates personality, but it's not personal. So it's absolute love, but it's like energy impersonally creating. Yes, I understand. I just try to be fine with the hurt and the pain in it, you see. You'll never be fine with it. The you energy is always looking for something better, something different. The freedom is what is. It's not in a story of you dealing with it. All right. Can you please, this is from Cologne. Kelowna. Can you please share with us what the turning point in your life, as I know you were seeking for about 5 years, looks the same in my story? Well, really, when the me energy starts, it's always seeking. No, I think that thing you were saying about 5 years is there was an awakening, and then there was flip-flopping for 5 years. Actually, spiritually, if that's what you're asking, like in Buddhism and everything, there was most probably a looking in all of that for maybe 10 years. But there was awakening at about 25. Although there'd been many awakening before that, there was a big awakening at 25, and then that energy flip-flopped for about another 5 years. But before that, there'd been many awakenings as well, actually. But that seemed, I mean, when people ask, that seemed to be one that I defined as something, but it's all bullshit, really. But the seeking is always, as soon as that personal energy starts, it's always seeking to come home. It's always looking for home. And there seemed to be a lot of listening to non-duality, particularly the non-duality that pointed to no choice, no doer, no self, no I. That was the strong interest here. But most people then say, so did that help? Did that ever happen? And who would it help? All these questions begin to get destructed or deconstructed. So if the you is gone, I will be fine with it, and the pain is not better than pleasant experiences. The body will move towards pleasurable experiences. There will be a preference towards pleasurable experiences, but it's no longer your completion. There's no longer a you there that's looking to the pleasurable experiences as completion. It's just the body moves to more pleasurable experiences, and that's what preferred, but it's not what you're looking for anymore. Pleasure isn't your happiness. What you looked for is what is. But life has no preferences. The body, no energy, aliveness has no preferences. But the body is going to move towards eating a nice bit of chocolate cake rather than eating a big pile of shit. There's always the possibility that we'll pick the big pile of shit. But it's more than likely going to eat the chocolate cake. It's more than likely not going to walk into the fire or burn itself. But it's no longer your happiness. Pleasure, eating the chocolate cake, is no longer it. Everything is it. Everything is that aliveness. Everything is what was looked for by that me energy. But the body will still move towards pleasure. Look at the animals. My dog for sure moves towards pleasure, but it's no longer her completion. What's happening is it. There's no her or you left. So that makes one to be fine with pain. There's just no one in there anymore trying to get away from pain. But the body will move away from pain naturally. But there's no one in there anymore saying pain is what's destroying me or what's making me unhappy. It's just pain. But the body will move away from pain. This realization. Can you hear the noise? So what's the point in trying to understand what you're saying when it's not me that can do anything about it? It's all an illusion because you think that you're in there trying to understand it. There's appearances coming up saying, I'm understanding it, I'm understanding it, I'm not understanding it. What's she talking about? Oh, I get it. No, I don't get it. So it seems like you're trying to understand it, but there isn't somebody in there trying to understand it. There's appearances appearing. There is no realization. So Justin says, I can't do a realization. There is no realizations, really. There's the falling away of the veils. You can't really call that a realization. Most people think it's something they're going to understand intellectually or get, but it's not. It's the loss of all the fog. And then it's it. So there's really no moment of realization. It can seem like that because sometimes the fog can drop dramatically and it's like, aha! But there's nothing you can actually correctly say about this. There's no thought that can be in it like I am oneness. It just is that way when the fog drops. But it's not you that's trying to understand it. That's the illusion. There's appearances happening of someone trying to understand it, but how and what are those appearances? They come from nowhere and appear in aliveness, in boundlessness. And then this energy clings onto it and feels like it's limited inside of those thoughts appearing. Hey Caroline, she says, have a safe trip, my angel. See you tomorrow. Yeah, see you tomorrow. I'll give you a text when I see Laurent and tell you what time he's going to pick you up. I'll send you a text more than likely rather than WhatsApp. Okay, so we're going to end it now. I've just got some advertisements to make. Shall I do my New Zealand accent? Not New Zealand. South African? Afrikaans? No. Okay. So, this weekend coming, we've got talks in Paris. This is all on my website under Meet Lisa and events. And then you can click on the events and find out more information. People keep writing to me and asking me for more information, but it's there. You've just got to click on the event. It's maybe not as obvious to some people. So that's in Paris, in the city somewhere, I don't know, in the middle. That's the 20th, 21st and 22nd. And you can come to any or all of them. So you can come to one or all of them. And then we've got Mystique Belgium. That's on the 29th of December, the 29th, 30th, 31st and 1st. And for that as well, you can drop into any of the talks, or you can come for the whole 3 days of talks. And Stan's kindly offered for people to stay in his house. If they want, they just have to pay basic food and heating. So, and lights and things and electricity. So it's very well priced. So you can look on my website for that. That's on the 29th. And I think on the 28th, they're going to have another speaker there called, on the Saturday night, called Paul Smith. And you can, so if you wanted to come to my talks and to Paul Smith's as well, you could stay for the whole 4 nights, I'm sure. You can look him up on the internet, Paul Smith. Or you can just email Stan and find out the information. And you can just go to him, you don't have to come and see me. Then in January, there's talks in Munich, Germany. That's the 17th, 18th and 19th of January. Then in March, there's Berlin. That's the 22nd and 23rd of March. And then again in Belgium in April for Easter weekend holiday, the 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st. I think that's 4 days of talks. And then in Bristol in April. And I've also got a new event which I'm going to put on my website soon, which is a week in Greece at this beautiful retreat centre for a week of talks and a week of beach holiday, and that's in June. That's it. So maybe I'll see some of you this weekend in Paris. Was there anything else I needed to announce? Waiting. No, I think that's... Oh yeah, and then also the next time I'll be streaming is Christmas Day, next Wednesday the 25th, and I'll still do it that on Christmas Day. Might not be very many viewers. On the 25th at 7 p.m. This weekend the Sunday's cancelled because I'm in Paris, and then the weekend after that I will be streaming on the Sunday but at a different time. So you just have to look in for that. All right, my loves. Bye.